If the numbers we see in domestic violence were applied to terrorism or gang violence, the entire country would be up in arms and it would be the lead story on the news every night. Our homes should be our havens. Imagine for a moment if your home had become a place of violence, if the partner or family member who was your support also became a source of fear and pain for you and maybe even for your children. And now imagine this happening at a time when you are being told to stay home. There is a pandemic within the pandemic, and it's called domestic violence. My proposal will raise awareness of this issue. To do so, I will be creating a series of glass floral sculptures that speak about this topic and which are conceptually representative of the city I live in, Albuquerque, New Mexico. These works will then be shown in a physical and virtual exhibition, as well as promoted on social media platforms where they will be sold. All proceeds will then go to a nonprofit that is dedicated to helping victims of domestic abuse. I will be partnering with Safe House, a nonprofit based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The organization focuses on survivors of intimate partner violence. They currently house men, women, children, and members of the LGBTQ communities with an emphasis on crisis intervention. Last year, they sheltered 757 unduplicated individuals, 394, over half of which were children aged 17 or younger. COVID-19 has posed many obstacles for Safe House. As social distancing is imperative to slowing the spread of the virus, victims of domestic abuse are now far less likely to seek shelter outside of their homes. In many states, the number of calls asking for help has decreased by over 50%. It is also true that mandates to stay home when possible have caused domestic violence occurrences to increase, particularly among women of color, immigrants, and workers without a college education. One of the services that Safe House now offers are extended hotel stays outside of their main facilities. It's a critical yet expensive service, and so Safe House has initiated a capital campaign to raise funds to better serve victims of domestic abuse and to recover losses from funds already spent. My proposal aims to support this organization and their mission. I'd like to share an example of a success story. Resident Lindsay, whose name has been changed and who I will not show an image of to retain her privacy, is a 29-year-old Native American female who sought out Safe House after surviving intimate partner domestic violence from her husband of 5 years. Lindsay and her husband, who have 2 sons together, and at the time of shelter, when she requested help, one was on the way. She entered shelter in April, but went back to her abuser as he supported her financially. She returned to shelter in June, and with Safe House's support and encouragement, began to set goals to live independently without her abuser. She made goals to become self-sufficient and establish a life in Albuquerque, rather than returning to the Navajo reservation where her abuser resides. She applied for housing assistance and for work. She was offered a job and started to work on July 4th. She did not have anyone to watch her children at the time, so Safe House transported her to the Children, Youth, and Families Department to apply for child care assistance and helped her secure daycare for them. After 2 weeks of working, Lindsay informed the staff at Safe House that she had found housing. Safe House provided kitchenware and a food box to help her settle into her new apartment. She was and is very thankful for the support that Safe House provided, allowing her to begin a new chapter of her life and to support her family. Survivors of domestic abuse are resilient. Lindsay's story illustrates just how painful and difficult it is to withstand abuse from someone with whom you are very close and who is often your only support. It takes an unprecedented amount of resiliency to walk away from that toxic environment. Safe House not only recognizes that resiliency, but supports and nurtures its growth, helping victims become survivors. For the PACC Prize, I am proposing to create a series of glass yucca flowers to be made in my home studio, the equipment for which is what I shall be using the funds to purchase. The yucca, New Mexico state flower, is a symbol of resiliency and beauty, so I will create a series of them. According to the National Domestic Hotline, an average of 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States. To draw attention to this staggering statistic, I will create a series of 24 glass yucca floral sculptures. I will then sell these flowers through social media platforms and other partners, and the net proceeds will be donated to Safe House. While I have not yet attempted to make a yucca flower before specifically, I will briefly show you the process of how these works will be made and examples of work I have made in a similar vein. These sculptures shall be created through a glassworking process known as flame working. Rods of borosilicate glass are heated in the flame and formed in the fire, manipulated while molten. Once all of the small-scale components are made, they are held together with thin rods of glass known as bridges. This allows me to securely weld the petals to the center of the piece, creating a stable and realistic glass flower. Finally, the bridges are removed, resulting in finished work. This is one example of a simpler piece I did using the flame working technique. And this is another, which is much more complex. This work, which is 15 inches in diameter, consists of over a dozen glass roses and lilies. Lastly, I will show you this work, which is a piece I did just this past spring. It is a glass cornstalk that stands over 6 feet tall and is 3 feet in diameter, made using the same techniques. As I said before, I will be creating sculptures of yucca flowers for this project, which look like this close up. Pictured here are a few sketches of the types of sculptures I would create, one of a freestanding piece, another of a wall-mounted one. I am sure the size and form will vary as I create the works, and I feel that this variance is an important part of the process. Each and every case of domestic violence is unique, and I want the series of flowers I create to reflect that. Also of great importance is that these works are made of glass. It is often thought that glass is solely a delicate thing, and while it can be, it is also one of the most archival materials. If treated properly, glass can last forever. It is also transparent, a quality which reflects the invisibility that is often associated with victims of domestic abuse. Many instances of violence within the home go unseen and unheard. As for exhibiting the works, one location I have secured is at Studio 508. This gallery/studio space, owned by Kelly Cross, is located in Belen, New Mexico, a small town right outside of Albuquerque. The gallery is an intimate space that I believe will show the sculptures in a beautiful light. I also have applications out for several galleries in Albuquerque, and should the exhibition proposals be accepted, then the completed series will be showcased in multiple physical locations before being shown virtually. Aside from the physical exhibition, I will be creating an online platform to show the entire series to reach a wider audience and to do so safely. While I plan to promote and sell these works on my own social media platforms and through Safe House's contact list, I will also have the works promoted through other partners. The glass world, such a unique subset of the art world, is small, and I've been involved in it for about 10 years. Because working with glass requires large and expensive equipment, many public studios have emerged, creating a rich social network within the glass community. I first learned how to flame work here at Urban Glass, a studio in Brooklyn, where I completed my first socially engaged artwork and where I maintain a relationship by selling functional work out of their store. I also have a close relationship with Pilchuck in Washington State, a glass school founded by Dale Chihuly, where I've worked multiple sessions during their internationally acclaimed summer glass programs. Furthermore, I am involved in the Glass Art Society, an international organization whose mission is to support the worldwide community of artists who work with glass. These are just a few examples of glass organizations I have relationships with, and I am confident that many, if not all of them, would support and promote this project. As the details of this proposal have come together, I see the potential for so much more. Domestic violence and its invisibility is hardly localized to New Mexico, but neither is the glass art world. After the completion of my project in Albuquerque, I envision similar projects happening elsewhere. Poppies for California, orange blossoms for Florida, roses for New York. In each of these states and more, I know practicing glass artists and active studios, and I have no doubt that others be willing to expand on this project. If the stories of survivors of Safe House have taught me anything, it is that one success can inspire countless others. With support, a single project can become a movement. I see the threads of possibility unfolding. I see the dots connecting between one studio and another, between nonprofit organizations and practicing artists, between victims and survivors and supporters. Most importantly, I see the connection being forged between a past that has been shrouded in tragedy with hope for a brighter future. And this is my budget if you're interested in reviewing that and my sources. Thank you so much.